Hi everybody, Army P here for eXplorminate.net, and welcome to our continuation, episode 13 of our Let's Play of Stellaris with the expansion Utopia installed. Now we are on episode Lucky 13. It's my favorite number. Happens to be what some people would consider unlucky, but it has not been for the Army Pea Republic. You can see here that the current star date is 2340. Means we've jumped forward, give or take, I want to say 25 maybe years, 30 years from our last episode. You can tell from our border that the Army Pea Republic, I'll just turn off my sector view. I love that view, by the way. Sector map mode, awesome addition. We have absorbed the Psygagan Union, or a Psygagan, whatever they were. They're nothing more than, let's say, our slaves. They're not our slaves. I mean, we're doing just fine without them. But that being said, they have been integrated into our society for having threatened us in the past. Now, in terms of where we are otherwise, we haven't had any type of massive expansion. We did continue on with the Stellar Concordiate, and we ended up crushing them, and they're no longer a threat to us. And now we're kind of at that point where we should probably be looking about our next kind of phase, our next phase of what we're going to do and how we're going to achieve it. There's two things that we wanted to see in this Let's Play in particular. One of them was to access the Shroud, to get our Army Pea Republic, our peons, to a point where they were able to, ascend to their own psionic potential and access the Shroud. And the second one, of course, was to build a Dyson Sphere. So we're going to aim at doing both of those things now that we have relatively established some type of peace in our galaxy. So you can hear that they do have 7 for 7. Yep, okay, I just want to make sure that we were good to go. It looks like we've established colonies on a couple other spots, so we're just going to kind of go with our typical routines when it comes to establishing. And this is, I'm gonna talk about this, and this is probably one of the most basic things that you can possibly think of when it comes to the game. If you click on to your reassembled ship shelter, your basically it's the hub that you sit down with. Right here you can see it's an Empire Capital building, additionally Capital building, planetary capital, whatever the case may be. A lot of people, I shouldn't say a lot, newcomers to the game don't often utilize the potential bonuses of going adjacent to this actual structure. And you can see here that it doesn't mention anything in the drop down for the reassembled ship shelter. But if I go here, you can see here that the adjacent effects of mineral, food, and energy are increased by 1. So you almost want to establish your capital, planetary capital, somewhere where you're going to be able to utilize either energy, food, or minerals. And you can see here at the capital, once this is built up, it actually has an adjacent bonus of +3. So you can see here, as I've got my capital, my little cursor here and the peons, to the right of it, I've decided to put a galactic stock exchange. Probably not the best spot for it, but I chose it anyway. And then down I've got an energy nexus. Again, that wasn't actually the best. This is actually a terrible tutorial. But what you want to do is you want to be able to maximize by getting those adjacent bonuses, because they will build up accordingly. So that's what I'm going to do here. I know that in the future I've already got my Unity building set up, which is probably not the right thing to do, but what I want to do is I want to get more power. And that's typically what you're going to see, and the reason is because when you take your ships at a dry dock, they will end up consuming more energy than they do while sitting in dry dock. So you often will want more energy just in reserve than what you'll typically have. Okay, what does our fleet have, by the way? Looks like we're going to need some battleships. So why not? We're going to build one battleship. Corvettes were fine. Another tactic I tend to use, and this is the reason why I'm kind of going through my planetary advisors here on the different planets. You can see in the different modules that I've built into my spaceport, I typically choose an assembly shipyard for each particular ship. In this case, Alberta Prime is building battleship assembly yards. The reason I do that is because it reduces the cost of the actual shipyard, which is great, but it also increases the speed. And then what I'll do is I will go through, and each one of my different main 4 capital planets will have a different module. You can see here on Brianna Prime, I've got a Corvette shipyard. I've got a destroyer shipyard for Condoler Prime, and for Lothandra Prime. Lothandra? Man, I've tossed a loony or two. We've got the cruiser assembly shipyards, which is perfect. Essentially what it is when we're at peace and I'm not too worried about, you know, massing amount as many ships as I possibly can and as quickly as I can utilize that reduced cost and the building speed by getting each one of my planets in my core sectors to focus on a particular ship in general. Okay, so that's where we are right now. You can see that for the most part, I'm actually just going to take a quick second to talk about our diplomatic views. What's your opinion of everybody? Everybody's pretty much loving me right now, except for the Sacred Vitridius Empire. They're kind of neutral to us right now. If you're, in case you're unaware of the actual color scheme here, which is might be a little bit difficult at first. Blue is us. You can see here I can actually change it by clicking on either empire. Pardon me, that was a little bit of a mix-up there. Blue is who we are, and of course the corresponding colors represent what the AI, how the AI feels with us, right? So we've got green for good, yellow for neutral, and red for awesomeness bad. Now when it comes to orangey red, dark red, that's definitely not a maroon. Anyway, I don't know, they might be a little ticked at us. Let's see what this Republic has to say about. Yeah, so their opinion is wary, so I guess that would be the color for wary. Now the reason that I've jumped forward a little bit in time, everybody, was because I kind of wanted to give you an overview, because unfortunately, when it comes to Stellaris Let's Plays, there is a lot of time spent just doing general maintenance and changes, ups and downs, lefts and rights, basic caregiving, you know, time to either, you know, to your economy or to your fleets, right? Not terribly interesting. So I actually chose this moment to jump back in. Not only are we getting towards the later part of the game, the endgame crisis could pop as early as, well, I mean, technically it could pop any time within reason. The unbidden have a typical trigger of about 2350 to 2400, give or take. We might be really lucky if no one's researched jump drives to get the Praetorian Swarm. The reason I did this is because we get to pick our next ascension perk. And if I remember correctly, we've got Mastery of Nature, which I think they should always be your ascension perk if you end up having Utopia. If you don't have Utopia, the music and the ascension perks might be worth it right there. I'm not too sure if the megastructures do. From a role-playing standpoint, they do. This is me just kind of talking off the cuff, but I think these ascension perks are awesome. And not only that, but the AI use them. The only thing I don't know, and maybe you guys could tell me in the comment section below of this particular video, have you played Stellaris with the patch 1.5 banks? Have you seen the AI utilize the Ascension perks even though you didn't have the DLC? Because that's really, I'm really curious about that. Because I've seen the AI convert their entire, in a previous game, in a different game that I'm playing off camera, I have seen them turn their entire population into robots. And I've seen them build some of the megastructures. But that's because I own the DLC. Kind of curious if, again, if you've played this game and you've played it without the Utopia expansion, have you seen them use the Ascension perks? It'll probably become obvious late game. So what do we got? One vision, our governing ethics, and our unity output, which was good. Defenders of the Galaxy, we're ready for the Praetorian Swarm. Man, I'd really like to get that our fleet in much better shape, because to tell you the honest truth, we aren't that ready for them. So we get to pick, and this is where the fun begins. This is a kind of a quintessential spot where you're going to have to pick the path that you're going to use, because we both know that we're going to end up picking... what are we going to pick here? Master Builders? No, that's not where we're going to... Voidborn. It requires deep space installation technology, and then we're going to end up getting... Either we need the Voidborn, or we need, or the Galactic Wonders, because that's what we want, right, in the end. But because we're also going to be picking our first choice of essential paths, we're probably going to pick Mind over Matter. For just, for all intents and purposes, Mind over Matter is only a fraction of the potential contained in our minds has been unlocked. The latent psionic abilities of our species are not only beginning to manifest in certain individuals. The effect is the latent psionic abilities of our species will be awakened in some individuals. Tech research options gained as telepathy. Very interesting. I love the idea of a telepathic Army Pea. But just for giggles here, let's talk about the ones that we have. Otherwise, we have World Shaper, terraforming speed 100%, not that interesting. Naval capacity up to 100, it's galactic force projection. I don't think we really need that right now in terms for our economy's humming along pretty good. That would be a great option if you were playing a tall empire. You can see right now, we are probably the biggest empire in the actual galaxy as it stands right now. Interstellar Dominion, don't need the extra border. Galactic Contender might be the only thing I might be interested in, because damage to fallen empires plus 33%. We don't border on any fallen empires, so that's not really an effect, but if one of them does awaken, having an additional 33% firepower would always be good. Again, the research speed's always good to have. Consecrated Worlds, it's basically a giant party that lasts 100 years. Reduces growth time. I bet it does. And of course we got Imperial Prerogative. But that being said, we're going to go Mind over Matter. Would you like to pick this Ascension perk? Yes, I would. Mind over Matter. As we go to the very first steps of the Army Pea Republic and all of its citizens. Since the dawn of our civilization, tales have flourished of mighty sorcerers wielding powers that only could be described as supernatural in nature. These rare peons could supposedly invade the minds of their fellows, lift heavy objects merely with a thought, or perform any number of magical feats. Until recently, these stories were just that, stories. Now, however, our scientists have finally obtained conclusive evidence that proves that psionic potential inherent in certain peon individuals. Although only a very small minority of our species as a whole seems to be gifted with these psionic powers, their numbers relative to the total population have grown steadily over the last century. Whether it's due to some kind of sudden evolutionary growth spurt, or perhaps it's been triggered, has triggered latent psionic abilities that were always present in our genetic code. Scientists cannot say. A glimpse, perhaps, of the future that awaits us. So it says, modified pops in the Army Republic have added the latent psionic trait. The Psi-Corps building is now available, and psionic armies are now can now be recruited. So let's go into our species in our galaxy. That can't quite be right. That's our empire. There are our peons. Okay, so we have latent psionic. These species have latent psionic abilities, which have become dormant, which are dormant in some of its species, although quite rare. These powers will be manifest in our leaders. Too bad I can't modify It would be interesting to be able to modify out, and that's the best part of Stellaris, is that some hardworking individual out there is probably going to look at that and go, geez, you know what would be awesome is to have latent psionic powers and being able to gene modify on a massive scale. Okay. So that's the first step. Now let's just take a look at what we can build in terms of our armies. I thought that I would be able to see oh no, I have to build a particular building, don't I? Let's pick one of our core planets that has a bit of space. Gee, this looks like a nice place. Psycorps. Oh, it has to be on our capital. It's a bit of a shame, isn't it? Indeed. So without further ado, I figure it's probably a good idea for us to do what we have to take down. And this is one of the things it bothers me. I mean, I realize it's part of the game or whatever, but oftentimes you'll get these special buildings. I believe the Galactic Stock Exchange, it gives us plus 10% energy credits. I chose it because Alberta Prime ended up being the highest output that I had at 48, or it was less than that. But it requires you to use your capital, which is difficult too, because you can clearly see that it also ends up having to be the one that has a huge amount of my output. It's the most developed planet typically because it's your first, right? Now you can see here that I've deliberately starved this planet of all other. Now that food is global, I don't build any food on my capital. I use it entirely to maximize my maximize my output of minerals. So I'm kind of looking at what I want to lose here. Doesn't look like it's an easy choice. It'll probably be minerals just because I'm doing so well with minerals. So this here, minerals 20%. I don't want to lose that one in particular. So it looks like it would probably be this bad boy here. Mining network requires 3. We'll be replacing that with Psycorps. Okay, we'll keep an eye on that. Oh, what's this here? In vivo. Xeno researchers at the Thungali have established or published an open letter demanding that the local legislation restricting the experiments on near-sentient alien species to be relaxed. They make a convincing case for the scientific benefits and warn that the output of the alien scientific community on Glungetae will suffer unless the laws are revised. The ethics in it all remain questionable. Well, I don't think that we're going to allow them to exploit faster than light civilizations. That's not the Army Pea way. Besides, if there's one thing that that every cowboy should know, it's that you want to stop any type of brutal backlash later on. It's you don't treat the locals like garbage. Yeah, let the spice continue. Only 1,000 for 10 years of happiness. Better than any street drug I'm ever aware of. But I don't live in Colorado. Well, that being said, kind of seeing where we're at right now. What do we got? Might have enough time here to do the Enigmatic Fortress. Why not? I haven't done this one before, and or I have done it before, but I've never done it on camera. Building. So I'm going to build my fleet, and I'm going to show you guys how to do the Enigmatic Fortress. Enigmatic Fortress. Enigmatic Fortress. You know, you say it in your brain, and you're like, yeah, no problem. But then you say it out loud, and it turns into a big pile of... Okay, so here we are. Now, if you've never done this before, it's a Leviathan. Excuse me, I have to position myself for the according battle. What does he want? He wants to give me some minerals for kinetic weapons. I do believe that we have an abundance of it. Yeah, why not? You're a good giant cactus. Sounds good to me. I'm a giant plant, so brothers in arms. So, first step in the enigmatic... Oh, man, what happened here? Massive war has recently triggered between several of the largest nations. While our research were... Oh, poor guys. Nuked themselves into what can only be called as a situation between a certain president and North Korea. Damn shame. Hey, moving on. Okay, so what we're going to do here is typical fleet size. I think you could probably do this with a lot less. Almost at 36,000, it'll be fine. You'll see here that the fortress has a aura around it, a ring. I will be damaged as soon as I enter it. Now, that being said, I am able to show you spoilers on how to get the absolute best tech out of this. I will need a scientist at level 5, which I have. I'm going to make sure. Age 75, I think we should be fine. And I have done this a few times, and I will show you the way to do it. Pardon me. What do we got there? You got ship hull points. Yeah, that's awesome. And right in the middle of battle too. So you can hear that I've taken, you know, a little bit of damage. And the key is that the fortress has 7 different pillars, I believe. Or actually, maybe more than that. Maybe 14. And the key is to take them down as quickly as you can. Of course, my corvettes are perfect for this kind of damage because they can take down shields very quickly. And then it's all about those long-range bombardments. Great deal. What we got? A research agreement? It always ends up being this way, doesn't it? Right in the middle of battle. Okay, declare war. I don't want to declare war. I want to offer you a trade, sir. No, I don't want to offer you the trade. I didn't realize you were falling behind. Sorry, custodial Bakata Republic. You're not worth it to me. Okay, so we're getting chewed up pretty good here. I wonder if we're gonna... Oh yeah, okay, we've got this down. So you can see here that we've taken down most of the Guardian and the Vault and whatnot. As each one goes down, the ability to damage us, you know, it changes down considerably. Now it's just the Vault. So now we just... If you ever played an MMO, we're just burning now. Pop your cooldowns. Okay, we've got in the fortress. With the defeat of the defenses surrounding the ancient structure, we may find a way to explore into its mysteries. Entering and traversing may be difficult, but whoever built this must have possessed a technology that we can hardly dream of. Making matters more arduous, the fortress appears to be recovering. Some of the people who helped disarm the fortress have volunteered to attempt to enter it and explore it. With backup from the headquarters from Alberta Prime, following through to our end. Okay, so yeah, we want to go into this bad boy because I'm guessing that it's got some secrets. Okay, so what's going to happen is, the first things first, you want to send your first... What did we lose? Wow, I lost a lot of corvettes and cruisers. I hate when we use corvettes. Sorry, I will continue on in a minute. I just want to make sure that I remember topping up those corvettes. And what are my cruisers? Right here. 1 cruiser, perfect. Okay, so what it's going to do is it's going to open a situation log, okay? It's going to ask us if we want to do a demolition team to try to blow it up, which will require a troop transport or a science ship in orbit. And what we're going to want to do is a science ship. So we're going to move our level 5 scientist here. He does not have to be level 5, might I add, but we're just going to use him for the duration of this. So better take a look while my science ship... Peace offer. Didn't look like it went very far. Federation between some Cordiat. Ooh, that's gonna be interesting. I would be more threatened, but we took... Oh, apparently some of the individuals wanted to steal some energy from me. No matter, I've got 10,000. I'm rolling. Anyway, we're just gonna do a quick trade for minerals.
Construction complete.
Where is my... Pop up my fleet. Governing ethics attraction. I don't think I have anything to worry about. I think that people tend to wow, look at that, 3 of them. People are loving me. So where is my scientist? Oh, unfortunately you're gonna have to set him to passive. He won't go into... He won't go, scientists will, now in 1.5 will not go into a sector if there's an enemy in there, for whatever reason, right? I think it's the idea that they were really tired of your scientists getting killed by random objects. So if there's a known enemy, they just simply won't go into it. Okay, so what's going to happen here? We're going to pop out. I'm going to put him in orbit. I think what we'll do... the next phase of the fortress ends up taking a little bit of time, and I don't want to run this video too long. I kind of want to explain every point where we're at. So what we're going to do is we're going to stop it right here. And in the next video, I'm going to show you guys step by step what you have to do. Again, this will be a good opportunity that if you don't want to watch it, you know, you'll know that for the next video, that's when I'm going to get into the nitty-gritty details on the spoilers. Me personally, I actually went through this twice before figuring it all out, and it's frustrating. Just because it's a guesswork, and a lot of times you have to hit mid-game, and one small step or misstep can end up being disastrous. So that being said, what I'm going to do is... to show you guys the beginning point, which is of course destroying the actual fortress defenses. And the very first step, which I actually believe you can get involved or can do it with the demolition crew, but I do believe it kills the units. So that's that. Before we leave, let's see if we got our Psycorps done. Ugh. Boy oh boy, this thing's taking everything to build. No matter. Okay, everybody, so that's kind of what we're looking at right now. So again, the next, crystal forge plating, nums. We are going definitely kinetic battery. I love that thing. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to continually build up my fleet because we are at peace. Our economy is humming along. You can see here I'm just swimming in resources, which is great because we could be looking at the potential for a endgame crisis pretty quickly, but we always want to prepare for it. That endgame crisis could be any one of the 3 crises that you typically would see at this point, or an awakened empire. Additionally, we have started the quest line down the chain for being able to access the Shroud, and we've got the Enigmatic Fortress. And I will show you all the ins and outs, ups and downs, and the details of how to get the absolute best goodies out of that bad boy in the next video, which will be 14. Alright everybody, so this has been Army P for eXplorminate.net. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you next episode.